Hey everybody, my name is Tony Page, the Fishin Finatic. Today I want to bring you a little special gear review of one of the tools that I use for ice fishing. Today I want to talk specifically about the Garmin Panoptix ice bundle unit. It has a special ice transducer and the Panoptix transducer with it, and when I demonstrate what this thing can do, it's amazing. It's loaded with features and tools. I'm almost going to guarantee that it's going to help me catch more fish and have a lot more fun doing it. So, stay tuned.
A bad day of fishing beats a good day of anything.
Alright, so for the purpose of the demonstration, you can see I drilled 5 holes in the ice. I have one in the middle that has the actual Panoptix transducer, and the next hole to the right, you'll see has the traditional ice transducer, and then there's a few other holes off to the sides. I'm going to demonstrate how when I drop my jigs, you can get an idea how this is going to work and what you can actually see on the screen. Okay, so here is the actual Panoptix transducer. The ice bundle kit comes with this nice little handle that you set it down the hole and you can turn it for side scanning. You can see I have it in the forward view right now, and when I do, it automatically switches the unit into the live view forward. So when I set that down in the hole, it automatically starts picking up the signal, and then as I turn the handle, it changes the view depending on the depth of the water, structure, fish, whatever might be down there. Alright, and then to simply, if you're gonna, once you find out where you want to fish, just turn the transducer to the straight down position, and it automatically detects that. It says orientation change to down. You can either hit OK or it will automatically transition, and there you go. Look at that. Set it down there, and that is immediately showing a fish on the screen. Alright, so the unit I have is the Garmin 73CV. I'm just going to talk about the ice fishing aspect of this machine today. You can see this is the home screen. There's plenty of options. What's really nice about this is before you ever even get out of the ice, you can explore your potential fishing areas without ever getting out of the warm house. Just go on to charts, his navigation, a 3D perspective, which would be more if you're driving in a boat, or the one that you're probably going to use the most is going to be the fishing chart. So what you can do, it recognized my location, so it zoomed in on the lake that I'm at right now. I have a touchscreen version, so I can just kind of move it around. I can expand it, I can make it bigger, make it smaller, just like on a smartphone or a tablet. It's all touchscreen technology. So this shows depth contours, and it's pretty darn accurate. I've scouted several lakes with my boat before the ice set in and kind of compared it to the actual depth sounder versus the depth charts, and these depth contours are pretty good. So you can see, like right now, this is kind of the deepest basin, if you will. So I'm kind of right on the edge of that. Now, another neat feature about this is I have the depth shading turned on. So let me just zoom into another lake. So I'm up here in New Hampshire. This is Lake Winnipesaukee, which has a lot of features, a lot of detail, a lot of depth changes, and I have everything shaded. Every color represents a range of depth. So you can see it just kind of looks like a blob, and most people really wouldn't understand what's going on there. But if I go to menu, chart setup, chart appearance, depth shading, you see right here from like 4 to 10 feet deep, I have it in that kind of an aqua blue. 10 to 17 feet is a light blue, and so on. That's a pretty deep lake, has some deep holes in it, so I actually have anything yellow is 100 feet. Actually, this magenta color, 65 to 100, yellow is over 100 feet. So if I just back out of this, get back to the lake, you can see these yellow areas. So those are some really deep holes, a lot of lake trout. And when I zoom in on it, it actually shows the numbers and shows the actual depths and the contour lines right there. So even now, when I scroll in even more, you can really see the fine detail of these depth contours. So if you wanted to hit one specific spot, like this little hole right here, your GPS can bring you right there, and you'll know exactly where you're at just by going on the fishing charts. Get back to the home screen. So that was kind of it on charts. There's navigation charts, but again, that's more if you're out in a boat. So the beauty of this is really in either the sonar or the Panoptix. So this does have traditional sonar. So it is showing, let me throw the ice transducer in the hole. Okay. Now this shows the traditional flasher view. It's a digital flasher. You can see the rotary dial type in the middle, which is very typical on like a Markham or a Vexilar. The very right hand side, again, is just another representation of the flasher, but it's just showing a vertical view of the column directly under your hole. Now on the left side of the screen, I actually set the zoom feature, so I'm going to focus on the bottom 6 feet. So as I drop my jig down, you'll be able to see it on the right side. See, there it goes down. And you can see it also on the rotary portion. Whoop, and then once it gets down into that bottom range, you can see it a little bit closer. So the nice part about that zoom feature is if there's a fish down there, I mean, you can really get detailed with where you want to present your jig or your bait right in front of its nose. Again, you have the traditional flasher view. It actually works out pretty good. It has a multicolor palette. I think there's like 7 different colors. And you can see it's a red bar showing up. Even though it's a very tiny jig, it's very sensitive. What I also like about this is if you look on the screen right here, it's showing the cone angle from the transducer, 10 degrees. And it is actually showing, painting a circle about 3 feet on the bottom. So as the sonar cone leaves the transducer, it's very narrow and it gets wider and wider as it goes down. But at the bottom, it's only 3.8 feet across. So, alright, looks like that might be a fish showing up on the bottom, and it is. So if you look at that zoom feature on the left, you can see I can get really detailed on where I want to position my jig in relation to that fish. There might be 2 of them down there, but it's kind of hard to tell. Now, when I get into the Panoptix part of this, oh yeah, there's definitely more than 1 fish down there. Now I just got to get somebody to hit it. When I get into the Panoptix part of this, you'll be able to see where I can actually count the individual fish and see the individual fish on the screen. So I'm actually going to pull it right up out of their range, and I'm going to drop it back down on them. See if they see something falling down. Maybe they'll come up and chase it again. Oh, there it goes. Coming down into their neighborhood. Just jiggle it. Yeah. See that guy coming up? He's coming up for it. He didn't hit it. He's not interested in whatever it is that I'm putting down there. No. Looks like he's going away. See, his signal disappeared. Means he probably swam off to the side out of that radar cone, or I'm sorry, the sonar cone, and I can't see him anymore. So, okay. So that's how the traditional flasher view looks. So for those of you who can't determine if you want to go with the traditional sonar or the flasher view, well, with this you have the best of both worlds. So let me drop my jig down and you kind of see what happens. See it dropping, 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 dropping. 17.1 feet of water, so I got it right down at 16 feet. Just kind of bounce it up and down. See on the right side on the flasher portion of it, you can see it going. Looks like it's picking up a couple little air bubbles. That's the little lines that you see, that just little faint lines. And if you look on the left side where the traditional sonar is, again, you see my jig going up and down. Currently not marking any fish, although that might be something showing up. Yes, it is. There's a couple of fish, or actually there's 1 fish, one's my jig. Looks like another one might be coming. So let me jiggle it and see what happens. Hopefully I can get one for you. And they are not biting today. Oh, there, I just had a little nibble. No, whatever it is, they're just not interested. But that gives you an idea how those two work side by side. Right, so this is the real magic of the Panoptix. So what you're looking at here is actually a forward view of the transducer. So with crappie fishing, a lot of guys that go out and they just start drilling holes, you know, get 50, 60, 100 holes. It's a lot of work. Well, with this Panoptix, you can eliminate some of that work. Basically what I do is I go out, I drill 1 hole, I drop this thing down, and I start my scanning. So I'm going to slowly turn this thing to the left. So what you're looking at, all this down here is the bottom. See that little blob right there? That is probably a fish. It could be a fish down there. Just could be some structure or a weed. This doesn't really show real clear-cut definition of the bottom like a traditional sonar would or a flasher. So I'm continuing to turn this thing to the left. And what it's representing is the scale across the top is the distance away from me. So here is where the transducer is located, but as I go across, that's 60 feet away. Here's the depth of the water column. I'm at 17.1 feet, so you can see the top of this blur is kind of right in that range. It looks like it's pretty consistent, but it starts to get a little bit shallower the farther I go away. So as I turn this thing around, oh, see what just showed up right there? Again, it could be some fish down there, could be an old tree stump. A lot of interpretation on these signals, but that is definitely something in the way of the sonar beam. So something's showing up. So as I keep scanning, oh, look at that. That is definitely a fish. You can see he's suspended off the bottom. That mark over there, it's kind of hard to tell. This guy actually looks like he might be moving and swimming. This is good because if there was a whole school of suspended fish out there, they would show up like that little blob. So that's just a quick way of scanning when you first get to a new spot. Drop it down in, see if there's anything obvious in the area. Something questionable like this right down here. So I'm going to mark that. So I look at the handle, the direction of the handle on the transducer. I am going to go 24.2 feet that way and drill a hole, and it's down at about 16.5, so he's a little off the bottom. So that's the live view forward. So now I've switched to the live view down, and you can see basically what it's doing. Instead of a 19 degree or 24 degree or 12 degree, whatever the cone angle is of your sonar, this is putting down a 19 degree front to back, but it's a 120 degree cone angle from side to side. So if you look down toward the bottom, you can actually see right below the hole, top of the triangle, that's almost right directly below the hole. It looks like there's probably a fish down there. And then off to the far left, looks like there's a fish hanging out at the bottom. So I have my holes here, they're about 6 feet apart. On the left side, I actually have an ultralight rip and wrap that I'm going to drop down, and you'll be able to see how it goes down. There it goes, dropping to the bottom. You see it going down. Oh, there's definitely fish on the bottom. See that red blob down there that just showed up? That is definitely a fish. Ooh, there's several fish. Look at that, they're coming right over to my jig. See my jig going up and down right there. So now in the other hole, about 6 feet to the right, I have that little tiny tungsten jig with a soft plastic. Oh, see it dropping down right there? So there's my soft plastic. And there's my ultralight rip and wrap right there. So you can see if two people are fishing in the same shanty, this is really a handy tool. A lot of times if you're using a flasher, you're going to see your jig, but you also might be picking up your buddy's jig. And it's kind of hard to tell. Your buddy's jig could appear as a fish, and you're going to get your hopes up for nothing. So another nice feature is that you can actually split your views. If you like the traditional flasher view, you can also pair it with the Panoptix view. You can also come over here, go back to the home screen, go to combos, and these are customizable. You can set it up however you want. That was the flasher and the Panoptix. Here I have the traditional and the Panoptix. So it shows the traditional graph sonar with the Panoptix view. This represents basically a flasher in a vertical presentation. That's showing the historical data. And then this is the Panoptix view, and there is my jig bouncing around. And again, I'm in 17 feet of water, and this is just a tiny tungsten jig with a soft plastic tail on it. Alright, so I am back home. I hope you enjoyed this, found it informational. If you did, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want a little bit more information on this Panoptix system, do a YouTube search for, it's called Panoptix Game Changer. It's put on by Aaron from Uncut Angling. He does a phenomenal job showing how to get it all set up. He has some really nice graphics and does a good job. So check out his videos as well. And in the meantime, I will catch you next time. See ya.